Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Kit Conspiracy. And today I am combining it with Stitches and Stencils, which is a monthly series that MK and I do with Sandy over at State Goddess. And we do stitching and stenciling on our layout. So I am starting out with marking off where my photos are going because I'm going to be doing some stenciling with some Catherine Pooler inks in Deck the Halls and Martini. And I've got these stencils. These are called the Frosted Forest masks or stencils from Stampin' Up. And I don't think they are in, I think they're like retired or something. I got them at a very big discount recently. And this is my first time using them. I really like them. I think they're really cool. There is a third layer that you can do, but it's more like for a snowy effect. And so I opted not to use that layer because I didn't have any snowy photos and didn't feel like I needed to add snow to these pictures that I'm going to be using today. There is actually a third tree. It is not a pine type of tree. It is a, I don't know, it's kind of bushy at the top. And I'm not using that stencil. It's off to the side and you can't see it. So I apologize that I should have showed you the whole thing, but I did not. So I apologize for that. So this has, you can see in the stencil above my paper, there's a little notch in the lower left-hand corner. And I am just marking where that notch is on my paper so that I can align the second layer. It has a notch as well. And so you just align the notches and put it right over the first one, and they do overlap some, but it gives it a really cool effect. I really like the way that it looks. I'm kind of going with the foresty theme. These are photos from our trip to Alaska, and in the background you can kind of see the trees up on the mountainside, although the pictures were taken in the Walmart parking lot. Yes, we took a cruise to Alaska and went to Walmart. I can't remember what the reason was that we went there. I think it was one of our electronics decided to die and we needed a new one. So, yeah, you know, all those things you gotta charge and plug in to use. So, yeah, that's what we did. And my husband does like to go to Walmart. We probably could have bought it in port for a lot more expensive than going to Walmart. But he likes to go there because they show all of the regional things that you can get at each shop. Like this one had big fishing nets and lots of hunting equipment, and we don't get that in our area a whole lot. So when we travel, he does like to hit the Walmart to see what kind of regional things they might have that are just interesting and different. So yep, it was a twofer, right? We got what we needed and we got to see all of the interesting stuff. What I'm doing here is I had leftover ink on the stencil, so I just had my little test piece when I was testing the colors, and I used it to do kind of like a reverse stamping image. I just sprayed the stencil with some water to reactivate all the ink and pressed it down just to see what it would do. And I'll end up using it for something down the road maybe, or you know, it was gonna get wiped off on a baby wipe or a paper towel and thrown in the trash anyway, so you know, it was worth a spritz of water to see what it would do. Okay, so the hat is not something that we bought. It was just something he tried on. You know, another regional equipment or regional supply. Yeah, it was kind of fun to check it out. I am using a whole bunch of strips of paper from the papers that I have already been cutting into for, well, I'm actually showing you this video out of order, but I've already cut into these papers for another layout for Monday. And so I decided to cut these papers into some strips to use on this layout because they were already cut into, and I, rather than pulling out a brand new strip or a brand new paper and cutting it into strips, I'm using the offcuts or the off torn edges of the ones that I've already been using. So you're seeing things a little bit out of order, but you get the idea. I'm not really measuring the strips. I'm just kind of like, you know, take them to my trimmer and cut it in where it looks like a reasonable spot to cut it. Some are wider than others, just depending on what I am doing. And right there you can see I just tore it. So I needed that one to be a little wider to kind of span the distance. And so I just made it a little bit wider with by tearing it. So I want all of these to have like torn edges. I don't want the non-torn edge to show. So the non-torn edge of the ones that have non-torn edges are going to be tucked under the ones with torn edges. And I am using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to kind of tack these down in place so that I can move them as one unit and get them aligned properly. The last one that goes in is going to be that big yellow polka dot right there. Getting it aligned to the 3 on the right hand side, and then I will have the left hand side overlap it, and that way I don't have to worry too much about trimming anything off the edges or anything like that. I do have to trim off the bottom edge obviously, but not the right and the left, although I do think I did because I didn't get it aligned perfectly, but you know, that was the goal. I had the goal in mind. Okay, I am also going to take this over to my sewing machine. I'm going to run a stitch all the way around the outside edge, and then I'm going to run some partial stitches on those torn edges. You're not going to get to see me do that because I've had to move my sewing machine to make room for some other stuff, and now my sewing machine is back where it was, but I don't have the camera mount set up yet. So yeah, a little bit of maneuvering things around when I was in the middle of packing for a retreat and getting my Kit Conspiracy stuff all set up into an organizer and all of that, so it's not all just, you know, sitting on the floor next to me. Anyway, my title is Walmart is Everywhere. The Everywhere is a piece that I believe came from Bramble Fox, and yeah, it's gonna be, you know, it's an acrylic piece and it's really nice and it's pretty and I like it, but I thought it would be perfect to mash up with the rest of my title. I went back and forth on like Walmart, it's everywhere, or Walmart is everywhere, and so I just went with it. Walmart is everywhere. Just it's less letters to use and less spacing. I don't know. And you can see I already had to Frankenstein my T of Walmart. And this way I didn't have to Frankenstein anything. And then by that point, I also decided to go with smaller letters, which I probably have a T. But, you know, when I was thinking of what the title would be, I was like, I don't want to have to Frankenstein another T, so I'm just going with is. But then I changed my mind and changed the font. It is what it is, right? I am going to use this park bench for my cluster, and the reason that I am using that is because we were like, do we take a bus? Do we take a shuttle? And I am standing at the bus stop in that photo in the second from the left. That's me at the bus stop in front of the Walmart. It ended up being a kind of a shuttle rather than a bus, and it was fine. But for a hot minute there, we thought we were going to be actually taking public transit, and we downloaded the app and everything, and we didn't end up using it. But it was like, okay, now that we got here, how are we getting back? Yeah, it's always an adventure with him. It's like, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it as long as he's the one who has to look up all the stuff and plan it. Because I'm like, no, I like to have it all planned in advance, and not have to worry about it. So yeah. Anyway, so my title is Walmart is Everywhere. I did leave myself a little tiny label to write on. I probably have more information to say than that, but I can also write very small. So we will see what happens. I might end up adding a little bit more journaling on that polka dot, the yellow polka dotted paper, right below or to the left or right of the little yellow label. This will teach me to voice videos late at night, you guys, on the night before I leave for a retreat. So yeah. Okay, I'm adding another, I did add another tag up here, so I'll have a little bit more room. for some writing. I'm also using my favorite little linen thread twine, which was not originally my favorite. It was MK's favorite, but man, I've been using this stuff so much lately. I think it has become one of my favorites because it's like so versatile. But yeah, that gave me a little bit more writing room, and then I'm just gonna finish it off with a couple butterflies up in the sky. I felt like it needed something up there, but I don't want to distract from like the trees and what's going on. You might have noticed also that I did a bunch of splatter up there, and the reason for that is on my last tree that I put down, when I moved my stencil, there I left some ink up in the like above the photo that's on the left hand side. There's a little bit of a darker green ink there, and I was thinking, oh shoot, I've already done all my stenciling and everything's ready to go, and now I have an ink splotch. So guess what? We are going to splatter, and now it blends in. So yeah, that was my fix for that. And then you can see the black stitching between each of the layers of paper down at the bottom. And that is pretty much it. Don't forget to go check out MK and Sandy's channels. They are linked down below, so you can go and check that out and see what they are doing for stitches and stencils today. MK is playing along with Kit Conspiracy, so she's using the same kit as I am, which is the Hidden Creek kit from Arden Creative Studio. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this one, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I am behind in responding, but I will get back to you as quickly as I can. So thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.